See if I can get this intro better this time. What is up, guys? I hope you're having a great day today. I am excited to do some energetic weather with you today. And super excited because we're going into, well, we are in the Sleeping Phoenix, and we've been there for about a whole day now. The Sleeping Phoenix is the cross that we are moving into in 2027. This is the year that is given to us in human design. As a world, as a collective, as a humanity, we are moving into a new way of being. And it is this energy right here. So this is all about sexuality and spirit. Busy being busy, doing things that you love, being an individual, being yourself, making individual choices. And when we start with the sun in 59, this is a sacral gate. So it's that generative, like life vitality force. And it's called the preemptive strike. Gate 59 is all about breaking barriers to intimacy. And when we think of intimacy, it is sexual, but it's more than sexuality. And maybe we could say that like communication is sexuality, but it's like there's so much more than just the physical aspects. And I think that humanity right now is breaking down a lot of barriers to intimacy. And we're going to talk about specifically a couple here in a minute. That'll be a really good example. And so, what does that even mean that we are breaking down these barriers? This gate is so much about creation, and that can be reproduction, it can be the creation of life, but it can also be the creation of a business, an idea. It's just creation in general. It is this force that generates life. And so you can look at this with work, friends, kids, self, school. You can see it everywhere. It is a genetic role because the body has its own life and its own agenda. And our bodies, they have these strategies, these genetic strategies that they use to basically allow us to continue. That is the goal of the genes, is to continue through time. And so these roles, they honor that continuity. And they're basically unconscious bonding strategies. And so the place that we've been in for like a whole day now is the first line. And this is the preemptive strike. It is pursuer pursued. It is the strong and the weak. And it is basically just a way to come together in order to begin moving into the future in a different way, creating something new, being intimate with a new person at a new place. And so what is with this strong and weak, this pursuer pursued? The example that Ra always uses is the caveman, which I think is really good. You can think of a caveman in his cave, and he sees a beautiful cave woman outside, and she's alone in the cold. She has no resources. He has this warm cave, and he's like, oh, I got to get her before somebody else does. She needs me. Like, she has no food or shelter. And so he can go out there and perform the preemptive strike. And in the caveman fashion, it's like you hit the person over the head with a club, you drag him into your cave, and there you go. You have this new relationship. And it's rooted in that strength and weakness, like him having the resources and him having the shelter, like that gave him the confidence to go and get that person who also needed him. It's like they kind of need each other. And so, with this being the foundation of our bonding strategies, we are at such an interesting place with this right now because we're having so many masculine and feminine issues. And in my opinion, it's because the feminine is beginning to be accepted in the role of the strong, the strength role. But we don't understand what that means. When I approached Bear, I believe that I was in the strength role and he was in the weakness role. And we are going to have to collectively accept that. The woman being in the strength role, the man being in the weakness role, any gender can be in any one. And that's our problem right now. And I think a good place to look at this is like with Cardi B, and Offset going through this divorce. Here she is pregnant with her child. The same day she announces her pregnancy, she's announcing that she's getting a divorce. Some of the things that she's saying, I'm watching women go through them black and white, just like Cardi B. And if Cardi B can go through this 7-year-long abusive relationship where she's constantly devalued and cheated on, any woman can, you know? And it's like there's all kinds of questions about that. We don't have to make Offset or Cardi B right or wrong. We can ask questions. We can be like, what does it mean that women are becoming accepted in the strong position? What does it mean that they haven't been accepted in the strong position? Number two, it's like, what is strength and weakness in today's relationships? Could Offset not be with Cardi B because they were both strong? You know, it's like, does he need to go out and continuously find that weak so that we can continue like in this genetic strategy? Is he being controlled by his genes? And same with her, like, is it okay for her to be strong when she's not going and pursuing a weak? It's like this can create all kinds of difficulties and weird barriers to intimacy in and of itself. And looking at the genes and asking if they sabotage us, I think that is the most interesting question ever. Maybe a place that we could go, you know, what would it be sabotaging us from? Would Offset cheating be sabotaging them both from real intimacy? And my husband and I were talking about this today. It's like, for him to be going out and being intimate with other women while not being intimate with her, that's not real intimacy, right? It's like, to lie to another person, you're already not being intimate. So whatever you're going to do out there, it's not about the intimacy, it's about something different. And it's like, we don't have to sabotage ourselves away from intimacy. You know, it's like, we can watch someone show up to a relationship perfectly, and the other person in the relationship will absolutely fail to see them because of the barriers in their self. So it's like, Offset may not have been able to even see Cardi B, appreciate her, love her, because of the barriers, his own emotional barriers that lie in his own self. And so moving forward, he's going to have to confront those or not. You know, it's like, that's a common dilemma that I see with a lot of men right now. Like, are we able to even recognize the barriers as something that's real at all? And so when we are breaking down these barriers to intimacy, you know, we think about it as being intimate with the other, but truly you can only meet the other as deeply as you've met yourself. And the most simple example is a dad who's not allowed to cry. He's not going to appreciate his children crying because he's not allowed to cry. And he doesn't realize that he's not allowed to cry. You know, it's like, he doesn't realize that he's stopping that in every human because that has been stopped in himself. But if we can help dad break that emotional barrier, then dad will be able to support humans who are living the full spectrum of emotions. And so you're only meeting people as deeply as you've met yourself. And intimacy begins with self-honesty. Like, it is your responsibility to be honest and to see what is happening and to stop your behavior. If you want Cardi, you have to stop your behavior and you have to choose true intimacy. And if you don't, fine. You know, it's like, it's really just this fine line where we can really screw ourselves out of fantastic relationships. Because we are so conditioned and controlled as humans. And so next, this energy, the sacral sexual energy of creation, it is grounded in the spirit wave. It is grounded in 55.1, and this is called cooperation. And I love this gate. It's my only emotional gate. This is about relationships, social processes, and filling your spirit, filling your cup. This is the whole perspective of, my cup's half empty, everything sucks, life's so bad, I can't do anything. And then it's like, oh, my cup is half full and life is so great and everything's wonderful and I can do anything. It's like this whole freaking spectrum. It has the highest highs and the lowest lows, so it can be full of you know, pain. It can be full of moodiness, fickleness. Like, in this gate, in this energy, honoring your moods might be the most important thing. So it's like, if you're not in the mood to have sex, don't do that. If you're in the mood to eat, do that. If you're in the mood to go out, do that. If you're not in the mood to go out, don't do that. So it's like, pay attention to your moods and love yourself and where you are. Make space for where you are. The external world, it will be fine if you stay home today. You know, it's like, love yourself and make space for where you are. There is no control here. So many of us spend our whole lives trying to control this, and we want the high. So we're doing all these things trying to get the high, and we don't want the low. So the low comes around and we're doing all these things trying to avoid the low. But if we can just accept the full spectrum and not try to change our mood, not try to change where we are, we won't be taken on this roller coaster. You know, like, we will begin to watch the wave instead of drown in it. Maybe you could say, like, surf the wave instead of drowning in it. We won't make it personal. And we can just sit back, and let it be what it is. We can accept and allow the full spectrum of human emotion. And the problem here is that this gate is afraid of emptiness. It's afraid to not feel a mood at all, which is why it runs around for him. It runs for the highs and it runs away from the lows. It's running towards some blind, most likely unfulfilled expectation and away from some blind way of it's everywhere. And so if you can stop letting this wave control you and allow yourself to be where you are, your life will even out in absolutely drastic ways. It's wonderful. And this is also a problem. Relationships impact spirit. There is no choice about that. There is no choice. And so we have to make sure that we are in the right relationships for ourselves. This spirit allows us to be social. So if someone is draining our cup, like we're not going to be able to get out there in life and do what we need to do and be social and share our resources. And so we need to have the best relationships so that we can be social and we can create abundance. And the way that we can kind of view that, especially in this 55.1, it's all about inferior and superior forces. This is subjective, right? It is up to everyone to discover what is superior force, what is inferior force. And the premise is that the inferior forces are going to drain your cup. Okay, maybe you're going to see harmony in these relationships. Maybe you're going to see continuity, but no advancement. Nothing's really happening. There's no results. There's this continuity, but you're like, what else? You can be conditioned by this to go into lower lows than the people that you're with. And so if it's an inferior force, they can pull you even lower than you have went naturally on your own. And that is them conditioning you. These lower lows is what's going to make you feel so, oh my gosh, life sucks. What's happening? What's wrong? You know, it's like that is the draining of the cup. Whereas on the other side of the spectrum, the superior force, these are people that might have more experience than you. You know, they've learned more than you. Maybe they have some knowledge that you need. But you look up to them. Like you can live beside them and grow beside them and feel like comfortable in that. You're watching them expand and you can expand. You know, it's something totally different that fills the cup. And if we're all looking for a place to go in our relationships that involve learning and growing and having fun, being transparent, being vulnerable, being human, you know, these are the superior relationships. And so this wave, this spirit, it is all about the other. It is all about this impact that the person can specifically have on you and your spirit and your wave. The gate that the moon is in is kind of like the opposite. And so we're going to do a little flip here, but I think it's going to pull it together in a nice way. And so the focus, the drive today, this is about experience and not the person that you're doing the experience with. This is about you closing the chapter, closing the door, ending the experience, and then being able to have the energy to begin a new one, but completing. It's the energy of completing. And it's collective. It's all about how we all have to get out and share. We all have to be ourselves. We have to say the thing, exchange the information. We have to do our job at work. We have to answer that question at the grocery store. This is something that's happening all the time, us sharing ourselves that maybe we don't even realize is going on. And it's the human experiential way. So it's the way that we get pulled into the right and the wrong experiences. We learn from the experiences, and it's full of crisis and change and instability. Something that can make this not so crisisy is not taking it personal. Okay, it can be very easy to take collective experience personal, and I think that's when we really start to feel down about what has happened. And so if we can just see it for what it is and be like, ugh, I grew from this. You know, I have this now and I've let go of this now, and now whatever is next for me, I'm ready. You know, it's like letting it just be about what has been gained, what has been lost, where we're going now. And so, you know, this crisis-y, changey stuff, it is just simply a fact of being involved in your life. It's what life has and involves, and it's how we're all moved through time. And if I were going to give an example about how maybe this is different, how this is about the experience, whereas the last gate was really about the people. When you are pregnant and you are going to deliver your baby, that is about ending the pregnancy, ending the experience of being pregnant, delivering the child, getting that new beginning because you completed and closed the experience of pregnancy. And so it's collective, right? There are other people involved. Maybe you have like a whole medical team. Maybe like your friends and your family and your neighbors are there. Like maybe there's so many people and so much movement happening, but it's not about any of those people. It is about ending the experience of pregnancy, and humans come together to do that, right? And so it's really cool when you think about it like that. Like, I'm not going to make my birth about my relationship with the doctor that's delivering the kid. Like, when I'm telling that story in the future, it's not going to be about like our emotional connection or anything like that. You know, it's impersonal. It's just about, I need the right team of people to help me complete this experience. And then boom, it's complete. We all move forward with success and happiness into the future. And so one interesting thing about this can be reclusive. You know, it's like maybe the experience I just shared is the exaltation of the fifth line. It's like I'm out there, I'm sharing my experience, I'm sharing my growth processes. Everybody sees that I'm having baby, I'm doing it in public place. Maybe the reclusive side of this is I'm having my baby at home. I don't want a whole medical team. I don't need all those people involved in my growth. I'm going to have this one person, and this is going to be my experience. Maybe it's like not even having a midwife and delivering that child on your own. We can be reclusive or open in our collective experiences. We can avoid the people or not. But what we will never avoid is the experience itself, because that is the life. You know, that is us living our movie. And that is what the moon today is all about. This drive and focus on completing the collective experiences that you're a part of today, or bringing completion to another. And so to wrap up, all the energy we've talked about today, completing our experiences, aiming for superior forces so that we can fill our cup and have good relationships that have that give and exchange, and surrendering to intimacy, breaking down the intimate barriers within yourself so that you can be intimate with self, life, other, and you can enjoy being here in this body. And so right now, our energetic ocean is changing, and your body is your temple. I offer alternative talk therapy. I call them personal sessions. I try to help people find their bodily decision maker so that they can unbecome their mind and begin to watch it. So over the weekend, you know, don't be moved by your mind. Follow your inner authority, follow your bodily decision maker, and find your unique alignment. If you would like to book a session with me, you can do so on my website, planetpeoplehd.com. You can go to the services and go to my page, and you can book right there. And so I hope you guys have a great weekend. I will be back on Monday. I'll talk to you soon.